Texas Democratic Convention wrapped up in Corpus Christi over the weekend, but they weren't the only party that was excited for the upcoming season. Local Republicans were also out in full force. The USDA is reporting more New World Screwworm cases in Texas, and a nun from the Rio Grande Valley was detained then released by ICE over the weekend. This is South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Thank you for joining me on this Monday, June 29th. Texas Democrats left their state convention this weekend in Corpus Christi with renewed optimism ahead of November's midterm elections. The Texas Newsroom's Blaise Gainey reports on the three-day party meeting.
Thousands of Democrats packed the Hilliard Center Arena Saturday for the convention's last day. Party leaders spent the weekend telling delegates and supporters they believe 2026 offers Texas Democrats' best chance in decades to win a statewide office. They urged the activists to channel their enthusiasm into organizing and voter registration and turnout efforts.
We win because we believe in solidarity.
Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders delivered the convention's closing keynote.
We believe in a common humanity. And we know that when we stand together as one people, the oligarchs and all of their money will never defeat it.
The convention featured speeches from Texas Democratic candidates and national leaders, expanding healthcare access and advancing the party's priorities in Texas. Now, with the convention over, Democrats say the focus shifts from speeches to campaigning as volunteers head home to knock doors, register voters, and prepare for November. I'm Blaise Gainey in Corpus Christi.
While Texas Democrats convened in Corpus Christi over the weekend, local Republicans used the convention as a way to drum up excitement for their party. The Texas GOP made its presence felt with everything from a live bull, trucks driving around town bearing Republican slogans, and even a taco truck giving away free tacos with names like Open Border Brisket. The effort also included a Friday press conference with 3 South Texas Republicans. Among them was State Representative Todd Hunter of Corpus Christi.
The Republicans, from the grassroots to the state officials, to our governor, to up and down the ballot, are going to do everything they can to move the Texas economy forward.
The local county GOP chapter also spent the weekend canvassing and hosting events with their 2026 midterm candidates, including Governor Greg Abbott, who's running for his 4th term, and District 34 congressional candidate Eric Flores. More cases of the New World Screwworm have been reported in Texas. The latest case infecting cattle was reported on Saturday in Crockett County. Another case had been reported this past Friday in Jim Hogg County in the Rio Grande Valley. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says that 27 cases of the New World Screwworm have now been reported in the country in the past month. 21 of those cases are still active, and 26 of the 27 are in Texas, with 1 in New Mexico. And on the topic of NWS, a production facility to produce sterile flies was inaugurated in Chiapas, Mexico, Saturday. Texas Public Radio's Jerry Clayton has more.
The plant is expected to eventually produce up to 100 million sterile flies per week. U.S. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins and Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum attended the ceremony. The facility, a joint venture between the two countries, is projected to cost over $50 million. It's part of the rush to suppress the outbreak of screwworms that has moved into the U.S., threatening the cattle industry. The first case was reported in Mexico in 2024. Officials discovered the outbreak had moved into Texas on June 3rd. The new plant is expected to double the amount of sterile flies that will be deployed along the U.S.-Mexico border. I'm Jerry Clayton in San Antonio.
A nun from the Rio Grande Valley who was detained by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement over the weekend has been released. The League of United Latin American Citizens, or LULAC, says Sister Letty was detained while on the way to Sunday Mass at Our Lady of Sorrows Church in McAllen. South Texas lawmakers Monica de la Cruz and Henry Cuellar said on social media that Sister Letty was released Sunday afternoon after lawmakers worked with the Department of Homeland Security to secure her release. LULAC is demanding a full account as to why Sister Letty was detained. Meanwhile, back in Corpus Christi, due to recent rainfall, the Corpus Christi-Nueces County Public Health District will conduct mosquito control spraying operations beginning this evening through July 10th. Residents should be aware that elevated mosquito activity is anticipated citywide, and spraying operations will continue across city zones as conditions are monitored. Spraying will occur during evening and overnight hours, weather permitting, in designated treatment routes throughout the city. Spraying may be delayed or rescheduled due to weather conditions. You can find the full schedule on the City of Corpus Christi's website. In state news, the State Board of Education has voted to require Bible passages be read by students from first grade through high school. As KERA's Bill Ziebel reports, it's also narrowed the social studies focus from a global to a U.S. and Texas view.
The board's decision's been brewing for a few years, and the majority says Texas students should know Christianity's role in the creation of the nation and the state of Texas. The list of required readings calls for both standard literature by writers from Shakespeare to Langston Hughes and Bible passages like Psalm 23 or Jonah and the Whale. Last Friday, the Republican majority board delivered its decision in a 9-5 party line vote. Here's board member Brandon Hall.
America and Texas have been a Christian nation and a Christian state forever. Of course, there are other faiths that are represented, but they've had a minimal impact.
Hundreds of conservatives spoke at the board meeting in support. Hundreds of others, including Jews and Muslims, opposed the plan. So did Kimmy Fink, a Catholic mom and former teacher from the Austin area.
We hold fast to this nation's guarantee that it is our right to practice our faith as we so choose, and we absolutely object to the government requiring Bible readings in public schools.
The board's social studies rewrite injects more Bible stories while reasserting the evils of communism and citing Islam, the world's second largest religion, as dangerously violent and founded by Prophet Muhammad, who, quote, led brutal military campaigns. Critics said this rewrite lacked balance and accuracy. The board plans to finish the social studies curriculum rewrite in September, having completed K-8 so far. The Bible passage reading list is ready and starts in the 2030 school year. I'm Bill Ziebel in Dallas.
Data centers are spreading rapidly across Texas, supporting artificial intelligence, crypto mining, and the digital services people use every day. But these facilities require significant amounts of water and electricity. State lawmakers say they do not have reliable information about how much water the industry is consuming and how that will impact the state's water-scarce future. As Texas Public Radio's David Martin Davies reports, a recent legislative hearing revealed that most data centers surveyed by the state have not provided the required data.
Inside a Texas House committee room, lawmakers were trying to answer what sounds like a straightforward question. How much water are the state's data centers using? They did not get a straightforward answer.
Data centers have become a hot-button issue dominating social media feeds and news reports.
State Representative Cody Harris chairs the House Natural Resources Committee. He acknowledges that almost everyone relies on data centers, from checking a map to scrolling through social media. But Harris said the rapid arrival of these industrial-scale facilities is causing conflict, particularly when companies refuse to explain their demands on local water and electricity systems.
When new developers like Diode Ventures enter a residential neighborhood intent on building a new data center and refuses to do any community town halls, refuses to discuss their water and electricity usage, and refuses to testify before this committee, then Texans rightfully get upset.
Water consumption varies widely. Some facilities use evaporative cooling, which can consume substantial quantities of water. Others use closed-loop systems or rely heavily on air cooling, potentially reducing direct water consumption, but they use a lot more electricity. And that creates another complication. Generating the electricity used by data centers can also require more water. Temple McKinnon is Water Supply Director for the Texas Water Development Board. She told lawmakers the agency's existing survey does not capture enough facility-level detail to calculate that complete water footprint.
Our survey doesn't get into that level of facility detail.
And the more immediate problem is that most facilities are not answering the state's survey. McKinnon said only 17% had responded to the survey.
For the year 2025 use, we have about a 17% response rate. 98% of those responses are showing they purchase water from public systems. About 2% are self-supplied.
But lawmakers stressed that those figures cannot describe the entire industry when more than 4 out of 5 surveyed did not respond. Representative Brad Buckley asked whether this was the same information used to prepare the state water plan, the document intended to anticipate the state's water needs for the next 50 years. McKinnon said it was.
Okay, so we're building the state water plan off of a 17% response rate.
Well, it's,
Yeah, so we have to do a lot of, whatever you call it, extrapolation.
yes, we
I'm
do.
not, yeah, I mean, that is a terrible response rate.
Harris said lawmakers could address that problem during the next legislative session.
The transparency of utilization of resources shouldn't be optional. And I think that that's just kind of a low bar that we're going to be looking to set next session is disclosing how much water is used and the source of it.
With incomplete information about how much water these facilities will consume, there are mounting concerns that data centers, if left unregulated, could make the state's coming water scarcity crisis even worse. I'm David Martin Davies in San Antonio.
And in sports, the Corpus Christi Hooks split a 6-game series with the Tulsa Drillers. They held the Drillers to 4 hits to get the final say in a 5-0 victory, giving the Drillers their 3rd shutout loss this season. The Hooks are now 3-3 in the second half of Texas League play and 34-41 overall this season. They continue their road tour this week, this time against Northwest Arkansas. They face the Naturals tomorrow night in Springdale in the first of a 6-game series. Meanwhile, the Victoria Generals' Beck Zimmerman drove in 4 runs in an 8th-inning grand slam to dominate the Sherman Shadowcats 17-7 on Sunday. That is a fitting score to wrap up the Generals' first half of Texas Collegiate League play. They completed the first half at the top of the standings with a 17-7 record. This week, they have 4 games on the road, 2 against the San Antonio River Monsters, then 2 more in Louisiana versus the Acadiana Cane Cutters. Then they return home to Victoria's Riverside Stadium to face the Baton Rouge Rougarous Saturday and Sunday. And that is the latest news and information on South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Your community arts calendar and more is on the way.